If you've ever wondered whether it's time for a rebrand, you are not alone. Maybe your business has evolved or something just feels off lately. But how do you know if a full rebrand is the right move? In today's episode, I'm breaking down the signs that it's time to rebrand, plus when you should hold off and what to do instead. Welcome to the Six Figure Brand Podcast, where each week we're pulling back the curtain on what it really takes to build a six-figure business as an online service provider. I'm your host, Morgan. I'm a branding expert, online agency owner, mom of two, and military spouse, and I'm obsessed with helping entrepreneurs like you understand the ins and outs of branding so that you can use it to grow your business without sacrificing your sanity. Whether you're just starting out or focused on scaling, we're diving into everything you need to build a profitable and sustainable online business. Let's get to it. At Spect & Co., we tend to work with service providers who have been in business for a few years, and typically they're starting to feel like they've outgrown their existing brand. So we talk about whether or not it's time to rebrand a lot. One of the questions that I get frequently is, I'm not sure if a rebrand is actually going to solve my problems. I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if it's actually what I need, etc. There are a lot of times when rebranding makes tons of sense and it will help you reach your next big goal in your business, but there are also a lot of times when maybe it's not such a good idea. So today I'm going to dive into how to know when you're ready for a rebrand, because it's not just about changing your logo. It's about really aligning your business with where you're headed and what your goals are. First, I want to take a quick sec to talk about what a rebrand actually is. So I like to differentiate between a rebrand and a refresh. I think these terms get used differently across the internet, but the way I view it is that a rebrand sometimes, not always, but often does include maybe changing your business name, and it almost always coincides with some big shift in your business. So we're changing our packages, pricing, offerings, you have a new ideal client, that type of a thing. And it really involves a lot of strategy and positioning work and updating your visuals. A refresh is like a smaller version of that. So typically it's done when things start to maybe feel a little stale, but we're not making any huge changes in your business model. So you're not changing your packages or offerings, your ideal client's not shifting, you just kind of want a little bit of a refresh. So this is going to be some slight visual updates, like maybe some tweaks to your logo, adjusting your color palette a little bit, but it's not going to be a complete departure from what you had been doing before. And as I mentioned already, we're not making any shifts in like your brand strategy or anything like that. So now that that's cleared up, let's talk about some signs that you are ready for a rebrand. And again, rebrand meaning updating brand strategy, updating visuals completely, the whole shebang. First is going to be that you're not attracting ideal clients. So your brand should act as a magnet, right? We're trying to pull in the right people and also kind of repel people who maybe are not a good fit. And if you are consistently getting inquiries from people that don't align with your vision, don't align with your values, that you can't help with your services, then that's a red flag. So maybe it's time to think about your visuals and messaging, getting some updates to speak more to that ideal client so that people can self-identify and know, oh, this is the person that I should hire. So to give you a real life example, let's say that you're a super high-end wedding planner and you specialize in luxury full-service weddings, but you keep getting inquiries from brides who are looking for just day of coordination and they have a budget of like $2,500. That's a sign that your branding and messaging are not communicating the level of service that you offer. So people are thinking, oh, I can just hire her for this small little package, when that's not at all what you offer, and your minimum price point is much higher than what their budget is. So we need to make sure that your brand really reflects that. Second sign that you're ready for a rebrand is that you're getting a lot of pricing-based objections. So this sort of piggybacks onto what we just talked about. But if you are frequently having clients respond with things like, I don't have this in my budget, I think I can find somebody else to do it cheaper, then your brand positioning might not be truly communicating the level of value that you provide. So super important that the level of expertise that your brand showcases matches the level of expertise that you bring to the table when providing your service. To give you an example, imagine that you are a business coach and you're offering like super premium one-on-one coaching for $2,500 a month, right? But your brand identity looks like you DIY'd it or lapped a template off of Etsy 5 years ago and it hasn't been updated and things are disjointed and you have different colors on Instagram than you do on your website. And it's just a little bit of a mess. Potential clients are going to look at that and say, well, this person seems like their business is a little chaotic and they like don't really have their stuff together. So I don't really see why I should invest that much money with them. And they're just going to move on and find somebody else whose branding, visuals, and online presence does match the level of service that they're looking for. And if your offers have shifted significantly, I would also include if your ideal client has shifted significantly. So if you say used to be a VA and now you're niching down into systems support, that's a good example. If your pricing structure has changed a lot, that's another good kind of example. And again, if your target audience has changed. So to give a real life example, I'm working with a client right now who does email marketing, and she used to work with any business, and now she's trying to niche down into the pet industry. So that's going to require a rebrand in order to really target those pet industry clients. If your branding doesn't shift to reflect those changes, then you're going to be kind of sending mixed signals, and people aren't going to understand, oh, okay, this person does this thing now, or they work with these clients now, and it's just going to create confusion. Doing a rebrand when these shifts in your business happen is going to really help to ensure that your visual identity, your messaging, your brand experience align with the current direction that you're taking your business and not what you were doing with your business 2 years ago. And lastly, if you are shying away from promoting your business because you don't love your brand and your website. So this is the one, honestly, I see the most commonly. People will come to me saying things like, I don't want to send people to my website because it's broken or it looks bad, or I don't want to attend this networking event, or I don't want to pitch myself to speak at a summit or something like that because I'm embarrassed by my brand. That's a major, major sign that your brand does not accurately represent you anymore. If your visuals feel outdated, if your brand and website isn't showcasing your best work, and you're kind of like cringing when somebody's like, oh, what's your Instagram handle? I want to follow you. Maybe it's time to think about a rebrand. So to recap, before we get into kind of the next section of this episode, 4 signs that you're ready to rebrand are: you're not attracting ideal clients, you are getting lots and lots of pricing-based objections, your offers or your ideal client has shifted significantly, and you are shying away from promoting your business due to your brand and online presence. I like to call this playing small. Now, rebranding is not always the answer. I want to talk about 3 instances when you should not rebrand and what you should do instead. So, don't rebrand if you are brand new to business. If this is your first 1 or maybe 2 years in business, you are very, very much still in the figuring it out stage, and you're going to learn a lot about who you love to work with, what services you really want to offer, how you want to show up as a business owner in that first 6 months to 2 years. I've seen far too many people spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a really gorgeous branding package right out of the gate when they start their business. And unfortunately, after a few months, they kind of discover, oh, my business has evolved to the point that this branding, while it looks great, doesn't really fit me anymore. And that's a huge bummer because now you have to spend all that money all over again and do all that work all over again. So rather than, I'm going to say, wasting your hard-earned money and your precious time on branding in that first 1 to 2 years of business, I would recommend either purchasing a high-quality brand kit from like Creative Market, creating a simple logo yourself in Canva that's kind of good enough for now until you get super, super clear on your ideal client, your services, and your vision for your business. And then I would explore the idea. Are you ready to put your foot on the gas and grow your business to 6 figures? It all starts with a solid strategic brand foundation. Join the 6-Figure Brand Society today. It's the only place where you can get one-on-one support from a branding expert for under $200 a month. Head to sixfigurebrandsociety.com or use the link in the show notes to watch our free training, where you'll get a sneak peek of what's included in the membership and how my team and I can help support you in building your profitable and sustainable 6-figure brand. Investing in professional branding. Second instance, when you should probably not rebrand, is if you don't have a very clear vision for your future yet. So a long-lasting and strategic brand that converts is going to be built with your goals and the future of your business in mind. And if you invest in branding without having those things figured out, then you're going to wind up with a pretty brand that you, again, are going to outgrow or feel misaligned with, probably sooner rather than later. So instead, spend some time to think really long and hard about where you see your business growing and evolving to in the next 2 to 5 years before you invest in branding. This is going to really help ensure that the brand that you eventually do create actually moves you towards your goals and really does serve as that solid foundation for business growth that we talk about so often. This long-term thinking and visioning, especially if you're a little bit newer to business, can be hard and kind of a lot of mental and emotional labor. But I promise you that putting in that work on the front end before you invest in branding is going to really pay dividends in the future. And finally, do not rebrand your business if you have a case of shiny object syndrome. So branding is all about building that know, like, trust factor with your audience. And a large part of that is done through consistency, repetition, and having your audience kind of know what to expect from you. If you're changing your branding once a year, it's going to be impossible for somebody to recognize you when you post content online and for you to establish the kind of brand recognition that you really need to even get past that know stage and into the like stage. It's going to always feel like a new person showing up to them, and they're never going to move into that, okay, now I know who you are and now I'm kind of building trust with you phase. They're going to just be confused of, why is this person rebranding all the time? What's going on? And they seem like they don't know what they're doing. This isn't really a what to do instead, but just an added point that there should always be a strategic reasoning for rebranding. Just because I feel like it, or my favorite color used to be purple and now it's orange, is not a reason. So I would encourage you to really try to resist the urge to change your branding every time that trends change, every time that your friend rebrands and you are feeling some FOMO, and instead maybe look for ways that you can evolve and improve upon your current branding. So this is where, back to the very beginning, something like just a little refresh can kind of scratch that itch and not confuse your audience. All right, and I want to wrap up with some pointers of things that you can do before you rebrand that are going to make your experience and your designer and strategist experience much, much easier. So first, collect feedback from your current ideal clients. And the key word here is ideal. Collect feedback from clients who you worked with that you are saying, I would love to have 10 more of these. I just recently did a podcast episode on this. I think it's episode number 7. Give that a listen for a deep dive on how to use feedback effectively in your business and in your brand strategy. Next is going to be do a competitor audit. So what are other people in your industry doing well? What are they not doing well is a really key thing to look at. And how can you kind of set yourself apart from them? Next is going to be take stock of your existing brand. So what's working, what's not working, what do you like, what don't you like, what do you feel like you've outgrown, that type of thing. And then finally, define your business vision and goals for the next, I would say, 3 to 5 years. So I've said this a couple times already in this episode, but a successful brand is built with your future in mind. So we want to know, where is your brand going so that we can build a brand strategy and visuals around that. This is going to really help you to avoid outgrowing your brand too quickly so that you're not feeling like I need to rebrand every year or every 2 years. The decision of whether or not to rebrand is a big deal. It's not something you should take lightly. And choosing to rebrand when it's not necessary or not the right move can not only waste a lot of money, but it's going to leave you feeling even more frustrated than when you've started. And conversely, trying to force your existing brand to work for you when you've outgrown it and it's just time for something new is also going to add to that frustration and make you feel like you're banging your head against the wall and never making any progress. So really think long and hard about the goals that you have for your business and whether or not a rebrand is going to actually move you towards those goals, or if it's just going to be a band-aid solution for maybe a bigger problem that needs to be solved in a different way. If you are still not sure if a rebrand is right for you after listening to this episode, I would invite you to book a free 5-minute brand audit, and I will take a look at what you've got going on with your website, social, online presence, and I can give you some pointers on what I would change if you were to rebrand, whether or not I think you even need a rebrand, point out what you're doing well. And a lot of times I tell people, hey, here's 3 quick things you can change that's going to make this feel better for you so that you can either avoid rebranding or maybe give yourself a little bit more time before you need to rebrand. Thanks for tuning in to the 6-Figure Brand Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to rate the show and leave a review on whatever app you're listening on. And as a thank you, I'll send you coffee on me. Yes, I'm serious. As a smaller show for now, you taking the time to do this makes a huge impact on how we can reach more people and how I can continue to create this content for free. When you take a screenshot of your review, follow and tag me on Instagram at @SpectandCo. I'll send you a $5 Starbucks gift card. As always, don't forget to check out the show notes for any links or resources I mentioned during the episode. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you next week.